All right, welcome back, everyone. So in part one, we sketched out the complete blueprint for Wisp, our elf shaman. We got her concept down, her priorities, even her magical tradition. Well, today we finally get our hands dirty. It's time to build her engine.
So, we've got the blueprint. Now what? How do we actually build the engine? Well, this is where we get into the real nitty-gritty. We're moving away from those big, floaty ideas and getting right down to the hard numbers. You know, the stats that are going to define Wisp's raw power. This is the moment we turn that plan into actual usable power on the character sheet.
Okay, so to really get where we're going with Wisp, it's super helpful to think back to our last build, Bash. Remember him? Our tank? He was all about the physical stuff. Body, strength, you name it. A literal mountain of chrome. Wisp, though, she's the polar opposite. Her power isn't in her muscles. It's all in her head. We're talking mental attributes here, specifically charisma and willpower. She's built with karma, not chrome. So let's get from that blueprint to the engine. What does that mean? It means it's time to assign her attributes. And these are not just numbers on a page, folks. These are the core stats that are going to fuel every single thing she does, whether that's talking her way past a guard or, summoning a massive fire spirit to cause some chaos.
Okay, so we're looking at the 2-point pools. And this is where we define our resources. And look, we're not just making this stuff up as we go. Those choices we made back in part 1 with that priority table, they directly gave us 2 very specific pools of points to play with. Kind of like having 2 different bank accounts to build Wisp from the ground up.
And here you can see the payoff from those choices we made. This is why that priority table matters so much. By putting attributes at priority B, we landed this awesome pool of 16 points for all her general stats. Then, because we chose Elf for her meta type at priority D, we get this other, smaller pool of 4 points. And these are special. They're called meta type adjustment points.
So first up, we've got the big one, 16 attribute points. This is our main building fund. We're going to use these to sculpt the foundation of Wisp's abilities, to really turn her from just a generic concept into the specialized face and mage we've been planning.
And then there's this other pool, just 4 metatype adjustment points. Now, 4 might not sound like a lot, right? But trust me, do not underestimate these little guys. They are our secret weapon. We're going to do some serious magic with these. Literally.
Okay, let's start forging those core stats. Time to spend that big pool of 16 points. But wait, before we just start throwing points around, there's one absolutely crucial mechanic that you have to understand. Seriously, this one idea is going to shape every single decision we make for Wisp.
And that mechanic is drain resistance. Look, in Shadowrun, magic isn't free. There's always a price, and that price is called drain. Every time Wisp slings a spell, she's channeling raw power, and it can bite back, causing stun damage. So how does she not knock herself out? With this formula right here, charisma plus willpower. That's her magic shield. And making that shield as strong as possible, that is our absolute #1 goal.
So if you crack open the core rulebook to page 64, you'll see that every single attribute for every character starts at a baseline of 1. It's our blank slate, a fresh canvas. And from here, we're going to build a magical powerhouse.
All right, let's spend these 16 points. Our mission is to max out charisma and willpower. We need them as high as we can possibly get them for that drain resistance and, of course, to make her an amazing face for the team. But here's the thing. With only 16 points, that means we have to be ruthless. We have to pick some stats to, well, completely ignore. We call them dumb stats. We're sacrificing them for power where it really counts.
And boom, here's the strategy in action. Just look at this. We pumped a whopping 6 points into charisma to get it to 7. Another 4 points into willpower to get it to 5. That's 10 of our 16 points gone, just like that. Then a decent 3 points go into intuition. Got to be able to perceive things, right? And the last few points, we sprinkle them into body, reaction, and logic, just so she's not totally helpless. And strength and agility? Heh, they're still at 1. Why? Because Wisp doesn't need to kick down doors. That's what her spirits are for.
All right, so that's the core. It's solid. But now it's time for the Elf's advantage. We're about to make the move that takes this build from just good to, oh my god, that's amazing. It's time to spend those 4 little metatype points. Now listen up, because this is a huge rule that a lot of new players just miss. Those 4 points we got for being an elf, they're not just for regular stats like body or whatever. You can spend them on special attributes. And for a mage like Wisp, that means one thing and one thing only: magic.
So, how are we going to spend these 4 precious points? Step 1, we take 2 of them and pump up her magic attribute. We go from a starting magic of 4 all the way to a 6. That's a massive jump. Step 2, we take 1 more point and push her charisma from 7 up to 8. That's the racial maximum for an elf. We've maxed it out. And step 3, with our last lonely point, we're going to buy a point of edge. Edge is basically your luck stat. It's that get-out-of-jail-free card for when a roll goes bad. Invaluable.
And here it is, the final result of all that planning. Just take a look at these numbers. We've got a magic rating of 6, which is huge, and a charisma of 8, which is literally maxed out. Her foundation is just rock solid. And the crazy part? We haven't even touched skills or spells yet. This is just her raw potential.
Okay, so we've been doing a lot of math. But what does it all mean? What's the payoff on the mean streets of the Sixth World? Let's stop looking at the individual stats for a second and calculate the one number that really, really matters for Wisp.
Remember why we did all this? All those choices we made. Putting attributes high on the priority list, picking elf, being so meticulous with where every point went. It was all for this. It was all about building a massive wall of magical defense, a shield to protect her from the backlash of her own incredible power.
And here it is, 13. That's her drain resistance pool. We take her maxed out charisma of 8, add her solid willpower of 5, and we get 13 dice to resist drain. 13! That is a huge buffer. It means Wisp can throw around some seriously powerful magic and summon big, scary spirits without having to worry so much about passing out from the effort. This is the engine we wanted to build.
So, there you have it. The engine is built. Wisp is brimming with raw magical potential. But you know, a Ferrari engine is pretty useless if you don't know how to drive, right? So what skills does she need to actually master this power? Well, you'll have to find out in part 3. Join us next time, and we'll tackle skills.